Welcome back once again to the Wealth Channel. I'm senior correspondent Eric Gordon, and today I'm being joined again by Lloyd Lofton, president of sales for American Eagle Consultants. And today we're talking about how managers can fit aggressive recruiting tactics into their busy schedule. Welcome back once again, Lloyd.
Eric, thank you for having me. It's been a good experience.
Thank you. You know, leaders are inevitably forced to be multitaskers. There's so much going on in order to make business happen on a day to day basis. Is it possible to focus your energy on recruitment and still effectively run your agency?
It depends on whether you have a good plan or not. I believe it is. I think successful managers manage their expectations. And the truth is, the recruiting process is really the avenue to get agents into your system. So I guess one way to answer your question would be is if the broker-dealer or the agency has a good system to plug agents into, the recruiting process itself is really a small part of getting agents in production.
Now, I know in previous articles that you've written, you've talked about a trap that managers fall into. Tell us, what is this trap and how can we avoid it?
Well, I think there's two parts to the trap. One of them is a lot of times managers hire an agent and they believe the press the agent comes with. They believe this guy's going to be their next big hitter, their big star, and then they tend to quit recruiting and spend their time getting that guy on board. And in my experience, managers really, when they're recruiting, they're looking for people that have ability. And the reason they're looking for people with ability is their perception is that that person will get results. And oftentimes what happens is when they hire based on ability, that person really doesn't really have the willingness to do the activity necessary to get results. And so the second part of that trap is they actually believe that they're responsible for that financial advisor or that agent's success. In other words, they believe that they have to make the agent successful. My experience is if you recruit towards willingness, in other words, you recruit people that are willing to do the activity necessary to succeed, then you can train the ability. And part of that process means that you have to have a system that you have confidence in and a system that when the new agent or the new financial advisor follows, more often than not, they're going to demonstrate success.
Well, you're talking about training people to their ability, but I'm sure, too, that eventually in recruiting folks, you're going to come across people who, for lack of a better phrase, just don't cut it. What does that mean for turnover at an agency?
We have to look at turnover in two ways. First of all, there's kind of an old principle in our industry, in the insurance and financial service industry, and that is a third of the people you hire are going to write business, no matter how much training and support you provide them. A third of the people you hire are never going to write business, no matter how much training and support you provide them. So the truth is, training and support is really meant for that middle third. It's to move that middle third up to the top third. And then the second part of that is turnover really is a reflection of training and selection. So again, I go back to the theme of having a system in place that you trust. There's nothing wrong in my mind with an agent falling off the books. In other words, a financial advisor that doesn't make it in the business, as long as they don't make it sooner than later. I mean, I think what hurts morale and hurts production in your office is if you have agents that hang on and hang on and hang on and they're not really doing anything, and then they quit as time goes by. I think what really helps morale in the office is if you lose people sooner than later, because then the ones who stay, they tend to stay on contagion. They stay because they're excited about the opportunities in that office. The culture of that office indicates that the people who stay tend to be successful, and you typically tend to get the kind of people that you expect in terms of the culture and the motivation you have in your office.
Well, you talked about those people who hang on, and sometimes it takes the person running the agency to have to make the tough decision. How long should an advisor give a new agent, in terms of time before deciding whether they've got that ability to bring in new business or not?
I get to ask that question all the time, and it's really hard for me to answer that question without, maybe without sounding a little bit harsh. And here's the way I present it to leadership. If you have a culture and you have a system in your office that the average person who comes in and follows will have the opportunity to succeed, then really your role as a leader is to determine whether they're willing to do the activity necessary to succeed. So my counsel to people that are building an office is look at the accomplishment and the success and the goal setting of your agents in terms of things that they're willing to do. And the truth is, recruiting starts just like in sales. We always say that the close starts with the very first contact. The truth is, recruiting starts with the very first contact. And when you get someone on board, my counsel to you is to set up activities, set up assignments, and then watch what they do. You know, an old adage I learned years ago in this business from a manager I had at a combined insurance company is you listen to everything this agent says, but you only believe what they do. So the truth is, the way for me to know whether I should continue working with an agent or an advisor in the future is what they're currently doing. If they tell me they're going to make 50 phone calls or they're going to have 10 appointments, they're going to make 8 presentations, and they don't do that, then now what I know is they're not willing to follow through. The truth is, when they come on board, I've already invested a lot of time, energy, and resources and given them the opportunity to succeed. And in my mind, as long as I've given them the opportunity, in other words, the training, the support, and the resources necessary to succeed, then it's more important what they are willing to follow through with than what I'm doing.
Well, thank you, Lloyd. Ladies and gentlemen, you've been listening to Lloyd Lofton, LUTCF, Vice President of Sales at American Eagle Consultants. Tune in each and every week for more information like this that can help your practice grow and succeed. You're watching thewealthchannel.com.